What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today I'm going to be grading every single pick that's happened on day one and day two. I already did day one, so we're going to be primarily focusing on day two, but this is cumulative, so you guys get to check that out. If you guys are not already new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We've been having a nice little push towards 8K over the past couple days. I love you guys for it. Let's continue that trend, and maybe over the summer we can hit that 8K mark. That would be awesome. Because I also know it's the dead period. So if you guys could show some support, greatly appreciated. Let's get right into this. I did just wake up, so RIP to the voice, RIP to the eye bags, but I know that I love you guys. I know that you guys love me. So let's get right into this. Starting off by division, the Steelers have been, I don't know what the hell has been going on. I accidentally forgot to not highlight every single trade. That's going to be happening tomorrow, so don't you worry about that. But Broderick Jones, I was originally like, oh, why did we trade up and not get Joey Porter Jr.? We got Joey Porter Jr. And then it's like, oh, well, I really love a defensive interior. I love Keanu Benton. We got Keanu Benton. And then I'm like, oh, man, we traded back. Like, shoot, we got an extra fourth-round pick. That's great. And then I see as Darnell Washington falls, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. Then we got freaking Darnell Washington. I was like, oh, maybe we get DeJuan Jones. I've been hearing he's falling because of some personality concerns. I liked how much his technique improved in the offseason. We'll see. Maybe it is a personality concern, and I didn't weigh it heavily enough into my analysis. But, we still got kind of a right tackle that can catch, right? So I love that with Darnell. Darnell is just such a steal. It's ridiculous. Big fan of it. A++ grade on day 2, B+ to A- grade on day 1. It was A- when I saw Joey Porter Jr. fall. In total, you're getting an A+. I have a hard time not saying A++, but I just don't really want to be giving those out too often because all these picks were A's or A+ at the end of the day. Next, we got Baltimore. Trenton Simpson was their only selection on day 2. Gave it an A-. Of course, I was saying Patrick Queen might not be getting a big payday in the future. It's a good guy to develop with Roquan Smith. And, they went BPA. What can I say? They like going BPA. It's what they do. I thought Zay Flowers isn't exactly a schematic fit for what Lamar Jackson likes. He likes bigger targets, but if he's matured in his passing game to the point where he's comfortable throwing to smaller receivers, which hasn't happened yet with Hollywood Brown or Devin Duvernay, we'll see if this might break the trend. Then that's going to be an awesome pick. I love Zay Flowers. So still giving an A-. And you guys will see in the bottom left, I have favorite picks and my least favorite and overall grade. I have to have at least 3 in order to start considering that as a possibility. Otherwise, it's one and then the other. So let's continue on. Myles Murphy, DJ Turner, Jordan Battle are the Bengals selections so far. Myles Murphy, I gave an A+. DJ Turner, I thought was a very solid pick. I'd give that in that B+ to A- range. Obviously, you're moving Daxton Hill to safety, and you're going right back to the school and the position that Daxton Hill played at the year before. So I like DJ Turner, 4.26, 4.27 speed. And overall, he was a top 70 player on my board. I thought that was very good value for him. Jordan Battle, I thought it was a little bit early over Antonio Johnson, but it's a solid pick. So A- didn't really bring it down that much. I thought it was probably a B or B- day 2. Again, consistency, and you got some guys that are in roles that work. So big fan of that. Cleveland Browns, they had an uninspiring day to me. Cedric Tillman's a nice addition. I gave that one a B-. I think that they could have probably, thinking of other positions they could have looked at, maybe I should have boosted the score a little bit, but you still got O-lineman out there. You could have still gotten another tight end. You haven't had Austin Hooper in a couple of years, but that's obviously, you can add that to David Njoku. You could have had Darnell Washington, for example. I think there's just better guys, but that was not the reason. I don't like Siaki Ika. I'm very happy to see him in division. And the Steelers have a good interior offensive line, and a lot of the division does. So I feel bad because Siaki's not even having probably the best division you could go to prove me wrong. I'll probably boost this at the end to C+. It's not a bad selection. They needed a nose tackle. They got a nose tackle. They need a receiver. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. Now you have Cedric Tillman. I don't really know if Cedric offers more than what they already have with Donovan Peoples-Jones, but he's a really good receiver. uninspiring, I guess is the way to describe it. Then we got the Bears going Darnell Wright, Gervin Dexter, Tyreek Stevenson, and Zach Pickens, the latter three on day 2. I was on DeWindy City's live stream. Awesome. Thank you, Rashad, for having me on there, along with a panel of other guests. That was really fun. I was very underwhelmed by Gervin Dexter's pick. He lacked, if we're talking about work ethic, this dude was taking plays off left, right, and center there for Florida, as well as a couple other dudes on that squad. He's a super high ceiling player, and it definitely could work out. But if you're passing on Jalen Carter in the first for personality concerns, I don't know if I can justify taking Gervin in the second. That's all I have to say. And I love the Darnell Wright pick. Just still a little bit uninspiring. Tyreek Stevenson was an A-plus selection, moved up and got a top-tier corner. For all those Bears fans who said they were not taking a corner. And Zach Pickens, he's another DPR. I thought that these guys were very uninspiring, not going to really boost the team on a 3-down basis very much. But, I mean, it's better than what they had. So I still give the draft a B. Like, you're still getting upgrades and probably 4 starters with this draft so far. Green Bay Packers, they got Lucas Van Ness, Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed, as well as Tucker Kraft. I know a lot of people, like especially that franchise guy, are a big fan of this. And you know what? I'm not a Packers fan, so I'm happy to see that Packers fans are happy about it. I know you guys traded back to 50 and got Jaden Reed, so maybe this could be a B-, but I mean, C is adequate. I'm not saying it's a bad draft at all. You're getting, like, on day 2, especially, you got two receiving weapons that are big, and then one receiving weapon that's a good deep threat. I like Jaden Reed. Did not think he was worth a second-round selection, but he's a very good weapon nonetheless. Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave. You guys needed a tight end, and you got 2 extremely fast ones. I actually said Tucker Kraft was kind of an on-sale version of Luke Musgrave, so you might have a little redundancy there. Lucas Van Ness, I thought was an okay pick. So far, these guys are all not really cracking my top 50. So I don't know. I'm not huge. That's why I'm giving it a C+. There's 4 dudes who didn't crack my top 50. Next, we have the Detroit Lions. They went Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell day 1. And in day 2, they went Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin. I forgot to upgrade the overall grade, or update maybe I didn't. It's a B to B+ draft so far. Brian Branch was an A++ pick. Broderick Martin was a little bit underwhelming. Jahmyr Gibbs was a bit early. I know people were saying the Jets were potentially taking him at 15. Don't know about that one. But I could see maybe the Patriots being in on it, pairing him up with Ramondre Stevenson. I know it's a little bit redundant with Pierre Strong, but that's a conversation for another day. So I was honestly an apologist for you guys on day 1. I thought that you guys got 2 5 to 10 year starters. I thought it was early for both, but, I wasn't going to lose sleep over it. I might have given Jahmyr Gibbs a D grade, but, so far, I mean, you got yourselves 4 starters. You got yourself a backup quarterback that could step in and potentially start. And you got yourself an interior defensive lineman who's just going to be more of a nose at 340 pounds. It's not a bad draft at all. It's a very solid one. You're getting role players. And I think that in order to get anything higher, I'm actually going to keep it at a B. To get it any higher than a B, you really do need difference makers. And I just think that you did miss the ball on the difference makers. That corner number 1, for example. I know Brian Branch was selected. He's going to be Chauncey's replacement in the long run. So you missed out on that corner 1 and that wide receiver 1 spot. I'm fine with Sam Laporta because you're getting a receiving weapon. But man, I'm just thinking that wide receiver room is one piece away. And I just think that dropped the ball a little bit, but we'll see on day 3. There's a lot of day 3 picks to be had. Next, we got the Vikings going the USC boys, Jordan Addison and Mekhi Blackman. Mekhi was a little bit of a reach in my opinion, but he does fit a Flores system. I think he could be a really good Viking, and he worked with Jordan Addison a lot. Maybe Jordan Addison was like, dude, this guy is going to be really, really good. Excited to see them be able to line up against each other in practice once again. Next, we got Jacksonville going Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby. I thought Brenton Strange was honestly fine really early, but I had him in my top 80 just because I think that he might have Isaiah Likely potential. Somebody who was really, really good in space, really fast, even for a 4.7 test. Like, he plays really fast. And Dougie P knows how to use his tight ends, so I'm trusting him on that front. Tank Bigsby, to me, was the pick that really dropped the grade, though. I did have an A++, so this is a significant drop. I don't think Tank Bigsby is that inspiring. I think that there's guys who are round 4 to round 7 talents that might be better than Tank. And I understand that's a solid compliment, but I don't think that was an area of much growth. I don't think that moves the needle very much. But Tank Bigsby's not a bad player at all. That's why I couldn't give that pick an F. I gave it, I think, a D or a D+. It's all right. And, Anton Harrison, to me, makes up for it. But I think you guys have the second or the most selections today. So very excited to get more arthritis being able to type for you guys, or carpal tunnel, whatever the hell it is. Next, we got the Colts going Anthony Richardson day 1, Julius Brents, Josh Downs day 2. I gave it an A. I don't think that Julius Brents was the best system fit. I think that would have been Tyreek Stevenson, and you could have probably moved back a little bit still to get him. But besides that, Josh Downs, a great steal. Anthony Richardson, the right move for the franchise. I think it's a great day. I think it's been a great two days. I can't just hand out A pluses like they're candy. And A grade, well deserving. Good job to Ballard. Another kick-ass draft. Happy for him. We got the Texans. CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, day 1. Juice Scruggs, day 2. Started off with I believe A- grade for day 1, as you should. If you have the number 2 and number 3 picks, you better end off with an A grade. I'm not as high on CJ Stroud, but we'll see what happens there. Juice Scruggs was not even ranked for me. I did not study him in depth, but I will admit, did not really stand out when I was watching Penn State's O-line. So a little bit worried about that. Didn't even stand out when I was watching Britton Strange. So a bit concerned. Then we got the Titans. They traded up for Will Levis, and then they got Tyjae Spears and Peter Skoronski. They've been having a kick-ass draft. It's like, damn, what are they going to do at quarterback now for the future? They don't believe in Malik. Well, they got their guy. Will, a lot of people are saying he's kind of a prima donna, Jay Cutler-like. And I think on the field, he's a really good leader. You see him being willing to lower the shoulder. And he just was very confident in himself. And I think he might have fallen because he's like, yeah, I'll go to the draft if I'm a high pick. I don't want to go there if I'm like some day 2 pick. And yeah, that sounds stuck up as hell. But think about it. You wouldn't either. Who the hell would want to go and have the camera on you the whole time, knowing that you're not being selected? I totally sympathize with Will Levis on that front. But, I can understand why he fell. If people are like, dude, be happy with where you go. Shut the hell up. I get it, but, the camera's on him, I think, 33 times during the night. We'll see what happens. Tyjae Spears is a good compliment to Derrick Henry as well. They've had a kick-ass draft. And my least favorite is Tyjae Spears, and I think I still gave that an A- or an A grade. So great job for the Titans. Then we got the Saints. Brian Breezy, Foskey, Kendre Miller are their day 1 and 2 picks. I liked Kendre. I really did. Kendre's a really good player. I just don't think that, again, doesn't move the needle that much. I still think they were better players on the board, but still an incredible player. B-, very, very admirable draft. Nothing that's blowing my socks off. Isaiah Foskey was the one who lowered it more. I think Kendre Miller was solid, but, Foskey, I didn't think he was worth number 40, and I'm an apologist for him. I think it's fine. Again, B-. So really solid draft. Just nothing that is like holy crap level. Cody Mauch brought this grade up. I know that franchise guy does not like Cody Mauch, but I don't think he's going to start right away. It's an insurance policy at left tackle and a movable guard. I think that's going to be perfectly fine. Baker was actually really good with a moving pocket as well. So having a mobile offensive lineman, perfectly fine. Yaya, he's a good player. This team is obviously gearing up for a tank. And they're just trying to get guys who could develop and be really good role players once you drop a QB in. That's the bottom line. Falcons going Bijan, traded up for Matt Bergeron and got Zach Harrison. I think that Bijan was a very solid pick. I know Falcons fans, you guys are very mad at me because I am not one to be a huge fan of Bijan to your team. I think that I wanted to see Bijan win championships, and I know you guys don't like hearing. I just don't believe you guys are. You have to be the best out of 32 teams, and I just don't think you guys are within 5 years of being the best out of 32. But Bijan will give you a good push to get you there. The rest of this draft, not so much. I don't like Matt Bergeron that much. You'll probably be kicking him to guard anyway. So at least it's a good spot. Zach Harrison, to me, was a bit early. Just a really underwhelming draft. And I love Bijan. You started off as well as you could have for the picks that you have so far. You've started off as well as the picks that you've had. The rest have just been, less than stellar. Next, we got the Panthers going Bryce Young, then Jonathan Mingo, DJ Johnson, day 2. It was an A to A+ grade on day 1, and then it was an F grade on day 2. I like Jonathan Mingo. I don't think he's going to be all that. I don't think he's worth a 239. And I also, there were guys like BJ Ojolari on the board that you passed on. Then you end up going DJ Johnson. So, you guys were targeting edge, and you missed out on some really, really good edge rushers. And you traded up, I believe, for DJ Johnson. Might have traded back for him, trying to think of where that pick is. But still, it's DJ Johnson, I didn't have him ranked in my top 200. So it's really unfortunate. But, you guys got the one piece right. That's Bryce. I was saying you guys could make it to the playoffs if you hit it right. And I'm starting to get concerned that it's probably going to end up being a 7-win team. And again, I've been the guy to put you guys in the playoffs every single time I draft for you. Patriots going CG day 1, Keon White, Marte Mapu day 2. CG was probably the best pick so far in the draft because of the fit. You could argue some of the other quarter fits might be the best picks in the draft. Keon White, it's good value for him. I had number 64 on my board. Marte, I thought I was a huge fan with him in my top 150. I thought, I had him, I think, 120. And, for him to go here, it's a very Bill Belichickian thing to do. And I think he'll be fine. That's why I give the draft a B+. Just day 2 was a bit more underwhelming. That's all. Next, we got the New York Jets. They added Joe Tippmann in round number 2. Very, very solid. I thought that was a good addition. He is 6'6", which is weird for a center, but, I'm not going to complain too much. O-line is always a good addition. Next, we got the Dolphins going Cam Smith and Devon Achane. I thought this was very solid. I know that Broshmo is not a huge fan of it, but I thought Cam Smith was the worst pick by far. Devon Achane was great value at pick 84. He's a dude with 4.3 speed and is shown to be able to handle a full workload and is a direct fit into the system. I love him, and he's going to be a fairly affordable running back for the next 4 years. And then Cam Smith, I think it's a little redundant. Might be not if Xavier Howard ends up going bye-bye, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bills added Dalton Kincaid and then brought on Osiris Torrance and Dorian Williams. This is an A, if not A+ draft. I'm just trying not to hand those out like candy. Dorian Williams was a very, very solid pick. I like that one, and I'm not even that high on Dorian Williams. I thought it was just a good fit, and especially for the value. Osiris Torrance, I don't even need to describe that one. People were putting him in the first round. I thought I was low on him with him in my 50s on my big board. I was surprised to see him fall there, and I'm glad to feel a little bit justified in that regard. Dalton Kincaid, again, I already talked about it. I know that they probably just wanted a receiving weapon, and they wanted to go more into 21 personnel. So I think that's perfectly fine. They've done a very good job overall so far. Washington, they added Quan Martin and Ricky Stromberg to Emmanuel Forbes, fixing up that backfield. Still a little bit weirded out by Emmanuel Forbes going above all the bigger and I think better fit DBs. And I love Emmanuel Forbes. Quan is a very good safety. Ended up being my safety 4 and really close to being safety 3 over Sidney Brown. So he was number 70 on my board. I think that was a very fine pick. And they've been trying to get a deep safety for a hot minute. I think Percy Butler was who they got last year. And I was not on board for that one. And then you got Ricky Stromberg, who's a center. Just, it's all right. He was, I think, 150 on my board. So, a little bit ahead of the curve. But it is what it is. Dallas Cowboys. Mozzie Smith was the first round selection. Added Luke Schoonmaker, who's going to be 25 this year. And DeMarvion Overshown. Just a really uninspiring draft. I like the Mozzie Smith pick. I gave it a B-. It's a good role player, and he has a high upside. He's young, too. Athletic freak. And then Schoonmaker. There's so many better tight ends on the board. They could have had at pick 90. I'm pretty sure that Darnell Washington was there. So you guys could have ended up going after Trenton Simpson or Drew Sanders if you wanted at 58. And then Darnell Washington at pick 90. And yeah, I think there's some medicals that made Darnell slip. But it doesn't matter. I think the value's worth it. And Luke is old. So I think I gave Luke Schoonmaker an F grade. And I gave DeMarvion, I think, a B-. I like DeMarvion Overshown. He's a good player. So it's good to add him in there. He's just a very unique player at that sub 230 frame. Eagles, added to their best of all-time draft in the first round, Tyler Steen, Sidney Brown. I love Sidney Brown with all my heart. Tyler Steen, I just brought it down from A++ to an A+ because, I just didn't think Tyler Steen was worth it. I think I had him in my 130 range. He's a good, consistent veteran tackle, but I think you're going to be kicking him to the guard spot for now. I honestly just think there are better offensive linemen there. I'm going to trust Stoutland, though. To be fair, that's why I did not lower it to an A. Overall, very solid draft there for the Eagles. I'm excited to see what Sidney plays because he's more of a box safety, and they kind of already have quite a few of those. But maybe we'll see. We'll see what they use him for. New York got the A++ grade. Don't like giving that out to many teams, but they got A+ at every single selection. Jalen Hyatt was a great faller. And then John Michael Schmitz, I had him going to them at the end of the first. So, to be honest, I think in one of my mocks, I had John Michael Schmitz and Jalen Hyatt as the New York Giants picks. Glad to see that. I thought they're all system fits. Deontay Banks fits with Wink Martindale as well. This is textbook drafting. And usually when I give the Giants kudos, they usually screw it up the day after. They didn't this time, but they might have for today. So hopefully not, because, I actually do like seeing the Giants succeed. But, Daniel Jones thing's up in the air. Niners, my buddy RJ doing this. So I love Jair Brown. They moved up for him. Hey, he's one of my top safeties. And he just tested out poorly, I think, with a 4.58 at his pro day, 4.62 at the combine. But one of the best safeties in the draft. I really did enjoy watching him. Jake Moody, it's a kicker. So I'm not gonna comment too much on that. Cam Latu, he's a really good route running tight end. He made Julius Brents look like a scrub, and I'm gonna continue referencing that until the end of time. But he's a solid tight end. I'm not going to question the evaluation of the 49ers on their tight ends because they're one of the few who get it right pretty often. So they got it right with their number one with George Kittle. I'm gonna trust them with Cam Latu being an understudy of that. And Cam just has drop issues. Sounds like what they did last year in the third round, Danny Gray. But we'll see what happens with them. Seahawks. Yes, I had to drop the picture of me and Zach in there. They added Zach and Derek Hall. They had pretty much an A to an A+ day one, getting some of the best, or one of the best corners and one of the best wide receivers. But this round, I just feel bad. I love Zach, and I think that he's going to do perfectly fine. The only reason it's my least favorite pick is I think it's really redundant. I don't know how he complements Kenneth Walker. I don't. And I really wanted to see Zach be a bell cow back for a team. Maybe the questions of Kenneth Walker's health is up in the air. If that's the case, then I understand. But you had, I believe, Osiris Torrance there. That could have solidified the offensive line. Derek Hall is just a little bit underwhelming for the guys who were left on the board. You had B.J. Ojolari there, who I'm a huge fan of. So it's fine. But, overall, it's still a very good draft. It's just, for me, I felt really, really sad knowing that Zach is never going to be that true RB1 if Kenny's there, because Kenneth Walker almost won Rookie of the Year. It was a big head scratcher, and again, I wanted to see Zach be a bell cow back there for the Cowboys. Did not happen. Would have been a lot better than Luke Schoonmaker, I'll tell you that for sure. Los Angeles Rams started out with going Steve Avila. Did not expect them to go O-line early. Very happy they did. Byron Young out of Tennessee. We'll talk about the one out of Alabama eventually. That's a good get. They're trying to get somebody of a similar stature in Brian Burns. Wouldn't say he is Brian Burns at all, but someone who has that speed and that relatively smaller size, not small. And good addition nonetheless. Kobe Turner, if that's my least favorite one, they definitely deserve a grade in the A range. Very solid interior defensive lineman with high ceiling. Did not get to grade him myself. Cardinals, they've been kicking ass, man. They got future first round pick, I think, from the Texans, and then they've been kicking ass, dude. Paris Johnson was that selection. B.J. Ojolari was B.J. Ojolari, Garrett Williams, Michael Wilson. That's kind of three of my guys for day two. Like B.J., obviously number 7 on my big board. I know I'm higher on him than everybody else, but he should have been higher than 40 on most people's boards. So very good value nonetheless. Garrett Williams is the top 15 player before he had an ACL tear, and they need a cornerback. I thought that was excellent. And then Michael Wilson, especially if you lose DeAndre Hopkins, like this dude's going to be an absolute stud as an X receiver. Did not think he was going to slip that far. Really don't have anything that I'm not a huge fan of. So good job to them. Good job. Kansas City Chiefs, Felix Anudike-Uzomah was round 1 selection. And then they got my boy Rashee Rice as well as Wanya Morris. I didn't really have a least favorite pick. I didn't think any of these blew my socks off, but they're all really solid. Felix was both my favorite and probably least favorite pick. Love a hometown kid. Thought he might have went a little bit early. Raw went a little bit early. Again, I'm biased to say that he went way too late, but I'm somebody who wants to be completely transparent with you guys and unbiased in my evaluations. I think Rashee Rice is going to fit that Juju Smith-Schuster role, and that's something that brought him a Super Bowl last year. So I think that'll be very good. Hopefully, Raw has a great career there. I'm excited for him. Wanya Morris is a very solid right tackle. So I think that could have actually ended up being my favorite pick. Overall, very solid draft for the Chiefs. You got the Chargers here. They got Tuli, Diane, as well as Quentin. I said A grade for Quentin in round 1, and a lot of people don't like Quentin. Takes him away from the Ravens, and then gives you a future option to pair up. I mean, it's okay to have twin towers. You can go 4 wide and then have, some speed burners. There's still some of them on the board. So I'm excited for him. Good job for the Chargers. You got a developmental edge rusher as well, who's a hometown kid there from USC. And then you got Diane Henley, who can learn there from Eric Kendricks. You're spending good value on these players. And I might have been saying I think Tuli was a B-, but Diane Henley was an A- pick. Quentin Johnson was an A. As a whole, they've done a very, very solid job. Maybe overall grade A-, but again, we're just nitpicking at that point. Vegas, they traded up, got Michael Mayer, and then they ended up with Byron Young out of Bama. Obviously, Byron Young brought the grade down. I think that was like a C to C- pick. Really early for somebody who didn't really have very much upside. He's a solid, consistent day 1 player, but I just don't think that he's going to really offer too much to the NFL. Michael Mayer, though, amazing selection. I'm not even high on Michael Mayer, but it's definitely a good addition to bring him there with Austin Hooper and forgetting the other tight end that they brought in. But still, you can definitely use a guy like that. Jimmy G loves his tight ends, and it's worth it at this point. So good job for them moving it from Michael Mayer. Terry Wilson, I gave him an A- for because of the fact that, he had that injury to his foot. People are worried about it. That's the only reason I couldn't have given that one an A or an A+. Broncos, Marvin Mims, they moved up for. Stole Drew Sanders, got Riley Moss. They say Riley Moss is going to be a safety. I just feel bad for all the safeties they have on roster, like Jamar Johnson, who I have a lot of faith in. But Drew Sanders is a good pick. Getting some extra linebacker help, who could also be an edge rusher. That's awesome. And then also getting Marvin Mims, who's going to be probably a KJ Hamler replacement. Never a bad thing. Just thought it was a little bit uninspiring. Next, and that actually ends off the video. That's very funny. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Excited for day number 3, starting very soon. So yeah, I just woke up. That's why I recorded the video, because I got to get ready for y'all. You guys have to make sure that you're up to date with all the picks. Thank you guys again for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.